Hi, this is Judy Castleberry, and tonight my presentation is Chapter 7, Connected Consumers. Who are they? How do they interact? And what outcomes do they seek? So first let's start with who is not on the Internet. 15% of U.S. consumers are not on the Internet. Those that are not tend to be older, less educated, Hispanic, and lower income, or have a disability. Again, that means that the rest of the 85% of U.S. consumers are on the Internet. So when we think about consumers online, there's a couple things that kind of interact in their buying behavior. Things like product, opinions, and interactions. And so these are some of the things they affect. We think in terms of scarcity, that something that is time-oriented, short time only sale tends to create demand. We think about popularity, which this is kind of the big picture, likes and reviews from the general public. We think about affinity. Hey, not only do we see likes and reviews, but do my friends like it? How about authority? Does someone important like it? Do we like it more just because Brad Pitt likes it? Consistency. Consumers tend to do the same thing over and over again, whether that's go to the same store over and over again, or go to the same website, or order the same product. All of those affect how we behave online. Reciprocity. Do me a favor, I owe you one. For example, give me a month's free subscription to something like SurveyMonkey, and I'm more likely to turn around and buy it next month. So one of the big issues regarding online behavior is the technology around it. The typical United States home has 26 different electronic devices for media and communication. I think I have 7 and I live alone, so maybe I'm under numbers, but it still comes down to that's a lot for one person. So when we think about technology, we need to think in terms of some basic things like connection speed. I know most people in this class probably don't remember dial-up, but dial-up was incredibly slow, and so websites had to be very stripped down. There's still people in our area who actually use dial-up, and so you have to think in terms of how fast does everything load, how fast are they going to get their information. You need to think in terms of type of device. There's the percentages on your screen of how many people use which device. What I want you to notice is how those overlap. For example, if I have a cell phone, I might have a desktop computer and a tablet, or I might have a laptop computer and a cell phone and a tablet. We tend to overlap, have more than one device. And how we use those devices often overlaps. For example, we might start on our cell phone, 65% of us do that, and then 25% start shopping on a PC or laptop, which means a lot of buying decisions are actually being made on that tiny little screen on your cell phone. And there's still those people that are starting out with tablets, and 11% are shopping there. So this brings us to the Internet exchange process context. What context are we doing all of this in? Well, obviously there's social and cultural contexts. For example, how fragmented our society is. All these little bits and pieces actually all add up to meaning that it's real easy to narrowly segment who your customer is. Also, though, your customer has a lot more information before purchasing, so they're more reliant on going online and getting all those reviews, which brings us to reputation. Consumers don't always trust the big company, but they do trust each other. So even though you might be the expert on whatever widget you're producing, the consumers are going to talk to each other about it and trust each other's experience with it. The relevance to the individual in marketing. For example, most of us don't like spam, but a lot of us opt into getting coupons from our favorite store in our email. Engagement. Engagement comes in 3 forms. It can come in the form of content, in the form of what media we use, and also in terms of activities. So a few other key trends that I want to mention. One is information overload. way too much stuff coming in from way too many sites, and all at once you have just too much going on in your head. Multitasking. All of those different devices and all that information means that we're trying to do it all at once. You know, how many devices do you have open right this minute? We've reduced the boundaries between home and work, and I find that especially happens with those of us who keep our work email going all the time and our home email going all the time. We sometimes don't know the difference between being at work and being at home. There's also this thing of we're used to having it instant, which means that if you have to ship a package across country, you know, and it takes 2 or 3 days, we're very, very impatient about that. That's why we like things that you can download from the internet. I mean, nobody buys software from a box from the store practically anymore. We expect it to be downloaded on our PC immediately. Online oxygen. We can't turn it off. We cannot stop looking at our devices, multitasking, and doing all this at once. Which leads to a couple of real important things about our consumers, is their resources are limited. Financial resources are limited, time resources are limited, and energy resources are limited. So that's something to really keep in mind. So what happens when we actually get to the internet? One of the things that happens immediately is all of us use email. 91% of us use email. And we also have those folks using social media. And hopefully this will play. Okay, I'm going to just keep going. We also create online. And whether that's cute little dolphins swimming at the bottom of your screen, or it's what happens with this Doritos commercial, which was actually part of that contest last year on the Super Bowl, we want to create something new and different and fun. We also enjoy what we do on the internet. 74% of us surf for fun. 71% watch videos on social media sites. 52% check for sports scores. 37% download music. We're doing all of these things just for fun. We also learn and trade. We research products, we buy products, we make travel reservations, we bank online, we use classified lines online. So when you think about your consumer, this is what they're doing online. We also give. I thought this was really interesting, the number of online donations to charity that are done online, or participating in online conversations to help people with personal health problems. Think in terms of support groups that are online, all kinds of them out there. So our consumers are connected, and we know who they are, 85% of the population. We know how they interact, and we know what outcomes they seek. So now we need to know how to actually market to them. Thank you very much for listening tonight, and that's my presentation.